Talky talk.
HuckyTalker. I kind of want to just wrap this kind of conversation up, is that religion's hard, and it's a conversation I want to have more dialogue with. So my call to action to this channel, let's talk about more of this stuff. Let's talk about specifics. Let's talk about the incremental part. What I don't want to have, especially in any community, like I don't believe in this, is your individuality being sacrificed for the common think tank. I hate that argument. I hate the ability that we all have to just confirm and convene on these logics. Now, don't get me wrong. That doesn't mean that we can't all come to the same conclusion on how to make actions to make a better world. There is always one action we must take as a whole. But that doesn't mean we have to come to that conclusion only by one way of logic. We have to look at it in multiple assets of logic. So, for example, are you a pro-lifer? Are you pro-choice? That is a incremental argument between a spectrum of different personas and arguments towards that. Am I pro-life? Absolutely. I am pro-life, and not only making sure that that children don't get aborted for useless and silly, petty reasons, but they also are properly taken care of. They have proper education, that they constantly grow. I don't believe it. I don't believe in the death penalty. I don't believe in ending lives just because it's more convenient for lives to be ended, like going overseas and bombing a bunch of people and ending their lives because they disagree with us ideology-wise.
Right.
I'm against any form of killing. I'm against it. But at the same time, we also live in a democracy. I know this is getting political, but we also live in a democracy.
They kind of go hand in hand.
Yeah.
Nowadays, especially.
Yeah.
Actually, it's always been that way. Sorry.
No, it's fine. We also believe in a democracy, which means that we have to look out for the common good and the protection and the health of others. Abortions are sometimes the only answer. And so if we just eradicate it and get rid of it because someone got raped, or the baby is going to cause the death to the mother, or the baby is in a situation where it may not survive if it doesn't get aborted, all these kind of things, you legalizing or illegalizing something like that shuts all of those conversations down. So you can't just be pro-choice, pro-life. You can't. It's more than that. There's much more to it.
That's the way I've always thought about it. Is that I didn't like the whole pro-life or pro-choice argument. Mainly, and I didn't know for a long time why I didn't like it. I was pro-choice for a long time, and I was pro-choice because I believe that the whole body conversation, because people focused on that so much. The news focused on that so much. When it came to a woman has a right to choose if she has an abortion or not, which I was like, yeah, that is your own body. You do have a choice of that. But then there was another argument where it's like, well, there's another life at stake here, possibly another life. And I was like, well, yeah, but... And then there's a whole argument of, well, is it actually a life until this point in time, and blah, blah, blah. And then you just keep digging more and more into this. And the more I figure out that I don't like pro-life, pro-choice arguments. And you kind of just blew that wide open, where it was like, I don't like pro-life, pro-choice. I want another choice. I want the one where we actually talk with people who have differing opinions on this and figure out just how complicated this whole situation is.
And that's why I'm very much against establishment think tanks. I'm just very much against people who just conform to an ideology and stand firm on that ideology and just support all this kind of stuff. And religion, no offense to religion, again, especially no offense to Christianity, but Christianity is so fixed on staying together, staying strong and firm together on religious arguments that may not actually support or go with your religious arguments. I know enough in the Bible that Bible talked about abortions. I know enough in the Bible they talked about LGBT, not rights, but like just people who...
Happenings?
Yeah, the happenings and the situations.
Yeah.
And there's a passage that's really wonderful about Jesus talking about everything in the Old Testament really doesn't matter, because I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one gets to the Father except through me. So it doesn't necessarily matter what the hell you do anymore at this point. It matters about what you believe and what your faith is. It's about faith. It's not about how well you do at something. It's not about how good of a person you are. You can never truly get to heaven unless you make the conscious choice to get to heaven, because it was available to them, and it's faith alone that survives, because there's nothing we can do that amounts to anything. And that is just my belief, that is my faith, and that is my stance. But I know a lot of Christians also have that faith and still cram so many ideologies down our throats that doesn't actually suit with mine. And it's frustrating, because we all are individuals with different thoughts. 100%. Just, we are all individuals with different thoughts.
We are all individuals with different thoughts. We are not a hive mind. This is not the Matrix.
I will hurt you. So the point is, what I'm trying to say is, let's dialogue. Let's actually have talks. Let's have discussions on what it is that we can express with each other. Let's talk about things instead of just sticking our guns on things that we made, or sticking our guns on decisions that we made prior, and we now have to just follow suit to what we made decisions on. So another thing that we can talk about too one day is the idea of making choices and learning from those choices. That's called wisdom. Let's use it. I love you all.
We love you guys. We hope you love us, even though we probably made you mad, because these videos always make people mad, because people they hear one trigger word and they get triggered, and hashtag triggered.
It's not even triggered. I wouldn't even go that far. It's the idea that we just are so polarized. Let's stop being polarized. Let's talk about stuff. Yeah. I want to hear opposing viewpoints. I would love for people to actually comment then and be like, this is what I think is wrong about what you said. This is what I think is wrong, and give us reasons. Don't just be like, you're wrong, you're stupid, go home, you gay,
you suck,
fag, or something like that. Like, don't say shit like that. Just say, this is what I think was wrong. This is what I go with that. Talk about stuff. We'll talk about it with you. We'll comment. We'll put the comments on below. I'll be more than happy to have dialogue. Just don't get nasty. There's no point. There really is no point. We're here to discuss.
We're here to build a community of talkers, and a community that's willing to build off of that talking, and committing it to action, so we can make a better future for all of us talkers.
Don't forget to subscribe.
Slam that like button.
Okay, we're editing it. Yeah. Slam that like button.